Hi everybody, welcome back to another CASaturday. Today we are going to be tackling Brock, and yes, his last name is Harrison. I did look it up. And we have this lovely drop-down menu now that we can change their pronouns. So I definitely made sure to put him as he, him. And then going into his aspiration, I originally wanted to have him be a chef just because I do remember him cooking a lot in the show. But the more I thought about it, I was like, I remember him flirting with all the women in that show. So I definitely had to change it to a serial romantic, which I know we did put Misty as a soulmate. I'm looking for her soulmate. So it is kind of annoying that we have two of them doing that, but it's too late now. It's done. So I thought that was perfect. And then I obviously gave him the foodie trait. And I gave him the adventurer trait as well, because he is a gym leader for Pewter City, I believe it is. And I felt like he would have to be adventurous and go like rock climbing and stuff like that, because he is specializing in like rock Pokemon. So I thought that was perfect. And then obviously I had to give him the romantic trait as well. And I did give him his colors, which I just went off of his outfits as well. And then we're moving on to his facial features. We're starting with his hair. And that first hair, I really honestly should have used it because it was iconic. But I just went with this one instead. I just thought it was more fitting of him. And then I still wanted to give him more of a tan skin tone, because he does seem to be a little bit tanner than Ash and Misty was in the cartoon. So I definitely wanted to keep that. And then as for his eyes, obviously the old Pokemon from the 90s and 2000s, Brock was known for his eyes being closed all the time. So obviously I didn't want to do that in The Sims, but I did want to get it as close as possible. So this is what I ended up with. And then just fixing his lips and his nose. And I'm not going to lie, y'all. It was about at this time that I was like, Brock is kind of a looker. Like, I am treating Brock well right now, if I'm being honest. So I was really happy with how he was turning out. And then moving on to his body and his clothes. Now, for his body, I did give him a little bit more muscle than I probably should have. But I did give him a little bit of a gut in the beginning because he is a foodie. I mean, man likes to eat and likes to cook. I'm all here for it. But I felt like if he's going rock climbing to find those rock Pokemon, that he would have to be pretty strong in order to do that and to take care of them. So I wanted to give him a little bit of muscle on his body. I think later on in the video, I do fix his shoulders, because right now he's very like hunched. And I realized that like his shoulders are like kind of caved in. So I do fix that, and I do give him a little less of a gut. But yeah, I'll fix that later in the video. Here, I am struggling. Yeah, I was really having a hard time finding what I wanted for Brock, especially with his top, because in the cartoon, he has a tan vest. I think it's a green undershirt, and then tan pants. And I was really struggling. I went through a lot trying to figure out his top. And this is the closest I could come. I do like the vest. I could take or leave the button down, but it's the best that I could do. I do realize in the cartoon that his shirt is like tucked into his pants, and we don't really have that in The Sims. So this is the best I could get. And then I did search for pants, and I was struggling with this as well, because in the cartoon also, he has brown pants on, but he has a belt that has like satchels on the side of it. And obviously in The Sims, we don't have that. So I was trying to find something as like capris. Is that what they're called? And I couldn't find cargo pants. That's what they're called. I couldn't find anything that looked right. But I do end up finding a good pair that I thought worked really, really well. It was actually a really good find. I thought about doing these pants here just because I'm like, oh, if he's doing a lot of rock climbing, if he's dealing with a lot of rock Pokemon, he probably gets a lot of tears in his jeans. So that was my original thought for it. But the more I kept looking at it, the more he just looked really frumpy with everything being baggy. So I do end up changing that. And then as you can see, I did also give him his likes of cooking and baking, because I mean, I had to. He's a foodie. I had to give that to him. And then here I'm just fixing his chin and his jawline a little bit, just wanting to have it be a little more defined. And then I think this is where I end up fixing his shoulders and his stomach a little bit. Yeah, I just take that in a tiny bit. And here's where I end up changing his pants. I decide that he looks a little frumpy, so we change that up. These are perfect. You can't tell me they're not perfect, especially with the little pockets being up high. It kind of looks like he untucked his shirt, so you can't see the belt, you know? You got to imagine things whenever it comes to The Sims sometimes. Now, I will say, as for shoes, I could have used these blue and orange ones, but I ended up using CC shoes, which I will leave down in the description below, just like I did for all of Misty's CC. But that is the only CC that I use for Brock. I just felt like I couldn't find the right kind of shoes. He does wear gray Nikes or Jordans or whatever they're supposed to be. I end up going with blue just because it matches his shirt. But it's like a dark navy blue, so I felt like it worked personally. But yeah, I do struggle to find his shoes, so that's why I went with some CC ones. And then as for his formal wear, now this is going to be a running theme in these videos. If you haven't watched my other ones, you'll know. The last two videos, I tried to do a lot of research. I tried to look up a lot of pictures. I'm not going to lie to you. For Brock, I kind of was like, I don't want to do that. Because I struggled so much to find pictures for Ash and Misty that I was like, you know what? I'm going to just kind of create my own backstory. Like, I know how they were in the cartoon. I'm just kind of going to go off that, and I'm going to stick in their color wheel. So I found this jacket, and I thought it was perfect for him because it looks a little run down, and it looks like maybe Misty had to put some patches on it. So I thought that was cute. And then with his workout wear, I kind of just stuck with his colors as well. I did find one gray one with the vest, and I was like, that's really cool looking, and I really wanted to use it because he looked so good in it. But it didn't seem very Brock. It was a little too modern. And with Ash and Misty, I felt like their stuff was so basic that I didn't want him to stand out too much, I guess you could say, because this was back in like the 90s and 2000s. I'm not saying fashion was like not crazy back then, but it was just, I felt like it was a lot less to an extent. So I definitely wanted to keep it more basic with him. And plus he's supposed to be doing like rock climbing and stuff like that for the Pokemon. So I just wanted to keep it as basic as I could. As for his nightwear, I'm so excited with what I did with his nightwear. Nobody's going to think this is funny. I think it's funny. I went through and I'm like, okay, he wouldn't wear anything like too crazy to bed. Like he's just going to wear like a shirt and, you know, sweatpants or night pants or whatever. And I went through everything and I'm like, man, it's not adding up. Like it's almost too basic. And then I found this and I was like, that's what we're going with. I thought it was so funny. Because you just imagine they're on this journey. They can only have like a backpack full of stuff, right? And in my head, it's just so funny that he would pack like a nightgown and a robe. And he's like, no, these are essentials. Like, I have to take these. I just thought it was so funny. Anyways, moving on to his party wear. Again, like I said, they are very limited on what they can bring. In my head, at least. And at first I found this jacket and I was like, why does this just scream to me? Like, oh yeah, I'm a lady killer. You know what I mean? Just because it's like, he has a button down on, but he has like the top couple open so you can see a little bit of chest. I don't know why. That's just what it spoke to me. And I really wanted to use it. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, no, they wouldn't. They would definitely pack smarter things. They wouldn't have, you know, done that. So I found this, which I thought was still pretty nice, way more casual. These pants from Dream Home Decorator are my favorite pants that I use for guys. I use them almost all the time for my Sims. They're perfect. I love them. And then just used his CC shoes. And then moving on to his swimwear. This is the one photo that I found online, and the only reason I used it as a reference is because it had all three, Ash, Misty, and Brock in it. So that's the only reason I had it as like a reference picture. And all it showed was him wearing like basic blue swim trunks. So that's what I did. I just gave him basic blue swim trunks. That's the only reference picture that I used of Brock, honestly, other than his normal everyday wear in the cartoon. As for his hot weather wear, I really wanted to use this open button down because, again, I'm like, he would want to show a little bit off for the ladies. But I do end up changing it. I give him a tank top instead. And I actually change out his shorts as well. And I give him shorts that kind of remind me of like rock climbing shorts. The shorts that he wears for his hot weather and his workout are very similar. Like in my head, they look like rock climbing shorts, which I feel like you probably wouldn't wear shorts when rock climbing, but maybe that's just me. But I just like that they gave me that vibe, and that's what I went with. And then as for his top, I give him the tank top that has, it looks like scales on it, because he has this one Pokemon. I cannot for the life of me remember. I want to say Gyarados, but I know it's not that one because that's a water Pokemon. But it's a rock Pokemon that's like a big snake type thing made of rocks. And that's what it reminded me of. So I'm like, oh, he's wearing his Pokemon on his shirt. So I thought that was perfect. So I do that. And then I gave him those shorts. And then as for his winter wear, again, I just wanted it to be practical. I really wanted to put him in a sweater that I put him in here soon, because I thought he just looked really good in it. This one right here. But it looked dad to me, and I definitely don't have Brock as a dad in this. Like, he's a young adult. I do make him a young adult because I do feel like he's a little bit older than Ash and Misty. But yeah, it was a little too dad. So I do end up putting him in a winter coat. Again, because they're traveling, he needs to be warm. If they get in a blizzard, things like that, he needs to be a little bit smarter about it. So I just put him in this one. And I do believe I just keep him in those pants as well. So here is his everyday wear, his formal wear, active wear, sleepwear, party wear, swimwear, hot weather, and his cold weather. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you at next week's CASaturday. Bye, everybody.